healthcare reform. So, yeah. The first thing about healthcare reform would be that it's really a choice. It really comes down to in between: is healthcare a right or a privilege? And I personally believe that it's right. And our laws tend to agree with that. Case in point, we have a law which states that whenever a hospital or an ambulance has someone who's in, heavily injured, they have to take care of them, regardless of if he's a citizen, if he can pay for it, or like, I guess if he wants the care or not. Right here it states with, blah, 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 it's a fundamental human right and all that. All right. Now in America, we spend the most amount on healthcare per capita than any other country. Actually, we spend more in general. That's because America is number one when it comes to spending money. I think everyone knows that and everyone can agree with me. If you look here, this is healthcare based off the percentage of GDP, which is essentially what percentage of our country's income goes towards healthcare. As you see way over there on the left, there's the United States at 60%, and France and a bunch of other European countries. And we spend significantly more. You go to the next one, this is the amount we spend in actual dollar amounts. So again, the United States, number one. Number two is Norway. Now, keep in mind, if you get injured in Norway, they'll drive you to the hospital in a limousine. They'll feed you cake. It's like you're fucking God. So, if you want to get injured somewhere, get injured in Norway. Now, most people would think since we spend the most on healthcare, we would have the best healthcare system. We actually don't. You can see this chart down at the bottom. The United States is down there. We have the lowest life expectancy. We have a lot of deaths for every single birth that we have. Yada, 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 yada. The font's really small, so you can't read it. But we're beating Cyprus and Bolivia in healthcare. And those guys have really good healthcare. If you get shot there, they'll amputate your leg, and it'll only be $500. Alright, so we do actually have some type of universal healthcare. Even though every other country that's industrialized has full-on healthcare, we have a very mild version of it, which is called Medicare and Medicaid. And as you can see by this pie chart, which I love pie charts because I love pie, Medicaid and Medicare make up about, this is actually a bit larger because this is 07, Medicaid and Medicare combined make up about 30% of the healthcare coverage. And they actually make up 50% of the healthcare finance because old people tend to spend more on healthcare. You can see that 50% is uninsured and about 53% is employee-sponsored insurance. This is actually, employee-sponsored insurance would actually be smaller because a lot of employers have pretty much dropped in healthcare because of the recession, and that's pretty much it. Now, does everyone know how the cocaine industry functions?
Yes.
Besides confident. I'm going to assume that most of you don't. So, let me explain. When a coke dealer wants to buy or wants to make money in the cocaine industry, they tend to buy a lot of coke, but they don't immediately resell it because that's actually not very profitable. The thing that they do is they buy coke and then they add additional substances to it to essentially bulk up the coke. So if you buy 1 pound of coke and you add a pound of flour to it, you now have 2 pounds of coke and flour, which you can sell as 100% coke. Now, this is a questionable practice, and it isn't really good about giving high quality products to your consumers. But health insurance companies do something very similar to this. Essentially, when you get a health insurance plan and you get sick, a health insurance company will look for any reason to drop your coverage. And I'm talking about any reason. You've had a fungal infection when you're 12, and it's a pre-existing condition. They'll drop your coverage. You spelled your name wrong? Oh, we're going to drop your coverage. Gordon Fry? Who's that guy? Exactly. Okay, so there's nothing on this slide, and I intended it to be that way because I'm going to be talking more. So Obama is proposing a optional government insurance. It's not like the ones we have in Europe, but it's not probably going to get passed in its current form because, it's not going to get passed in its current form because party politics blah, 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 it's probably going to be modified so it appeals to the